Viva la raza!
This week we head to Mexico for round 20 of 24 of the 2025 F1 season, and FP1 would be a rookie takeover as F1 teams are starting to fill out their mandatory rookie FP1 tests, and they didn't even bother with Luke Browning's Photoshop. This looks so out of place. That's clearly Carlos Sainz's body. But before the weekend began, it would be announced that Red Bull were getting fined $20,000 for peeling McLaren's reference tape on the grid. Now, what do I think of this? I think it's fine to gain a competitive advantage, but I don't think it's fine to be on the grid right after the track has been cleared. In my opinion, that's worse than peeling the reference tape, and that should be a bigger fine, because being on an F1 track when the track is live is absolutely insane. Also in FP1, since Frederick Vesti was filling in for George Russell watched from the stands, in a disguise. How did no one recognize him until he took it off? I feel like I would have recognized him because A, that person's so damn tall and lanky, and B, his chin is so obvious. But hey, I met him once already. He signed my Mercedes hat, so we're cool, George. This weird new escape road was also tested. I really hope this wouldn't be a point of controversy in the race. I really hope not. Liam Lawson and Lewis Hamilton are now part of an exclusive club of drivers. They're the only F1 drivers who've played more than words on guitar.
Positive day today. I missed out on P1, so that was made it challenging.
Don't please, man. Actually play this instrument, so let's give it a try. I'm not that good at fingerstyle, but that's the only part of the song I know, and I totally didn't use it as an excuse to show off my new Bortoleto hat. I feel like there are 5 people on Earth who own this: his girlfriend, his mother, Law VS, me, and a random Brazilian dude. Anyways, what happened in qualifying?
On the championship leader, he does!
6 tenths off! That is not normal. Yes, his streak of form lately hasn't been good at all, but he can't be 6 tenths off, right, can he? I just saw the listener video. Piastri's car looks more unsettled than Lando. Could be the suspension, just saying. A lot of buzz has been surrounding McLaren's extreme anti-dive suspension this season, and Lando isn't really a fan of the anti-dive because it has a lot less front-end feel, so he's been opting for a suspension with less anti-dive, and I feel like that has been crucial in Mexico and Coda, in tracks which front-end grip matters a lot. Well, good news for Piastri at least. Sainz has a penalty. He's going to be starting from P12 thanks to his incident with Kimi Antonelli back in the US Grand Prix. And this grid actually sets up a pretty interesting race for Sunday. Before we talk about the race, 10% of you aren't subscribed. Be sure to subscribe. We're very close to 11,000 subscribers. And also be sure to follow me on socials, Instagram and Twitter.
Verstappen trying to get by and no room. Hamilton locking up and going off. It is a 10-second penalty. 10-second penalty. 10-second penalty.
Wanker, you look like a bad dick. Bring it. Come on then. Pull your fucking cameras away now. I'll fucking lever you, knobhead. You don't need it. I'll lever you, knobhead.
I woke up at 4 a.m. for this crap. Brilliant. Before we start, I might say some pretty harsh things, so I would just like to say that none of my hate is directed towards Max Verstappen or Charles Leclerc. It's purely down to the incompetent stewarding of this entire race. Turn 1, lap 1. We can just make our own corners now, I guess. First, Max Verstappen makes it 4 wide. You were never gonna make it through that corner 4 wide, so this was a pretty dumb decision to make. Completes the move on Lewis Hamilton illegally off the track and still decides to defend his position for turn 4. Lewis Hamilton had to make up that position on his own. Charles Leclerc, you had a car's width alongside Lewis Hamilton, but instead you decide to drive off the road, make 2 positions off the track, and only decide to give back 1. I don't care that Max and Charles were marginally ahead of Lewis going into the braking zone. They still completed their moves off the track. That's an illegal overtake all day long, and they didn't get any repercussions for this because it's lap 1, turn 1. That's such a lame excuse. Look at this, Singapore 2023. Lewis Hamilton, marginally ahead of George Russell and Lando Norris going to the braking zone, completely cuts turn 2 and still gives it back to them. This one potentially costed him a race win. Like what George Russell said, what kind of precedent is this setting? You can just completely cut the track at turn 1 however you feel nowadays? Just look at George Russell's onboard. Look at how ridiculous is. Leclerc had so much room there. If it wasn't obvious on the offboard shot, it's super obvious now. Then Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton on lap 6. It seems like whenever these two battle, they just cause Armageddon, and I feel like they do it on purpose because they want to see their fan bases implode. I'm imploding right now. I'm crashing out right. I stayed up at 4 a.m. for this. I stayed up at 4 a.m. just to see my driver get absolutely shafted, and I'm a Ferrari fan. I'm happy for Charles Leclerc. Yeah, but it could have been a 2-3 because he illegally overtook Lewis off the track. Come on, Charles. What's also crazy to me that if there was going to be a penalty awarded for the lap 6 turn 1 incident, it would be Lewis Hamilton's fault because Max was ahead at the apex. These rules are so stupid. These rules... Okay, I should calm down. Why does this rule still exist? It genuinely allows for the worst racing standards of all time. Lewis takes the normal racing line, takes a normal braking point, but since Verstappen's ahead of the apex, it's perfectly fine that he barged him off, even though he was carrying so much speed there. Then Verstappen runs wide at turn 2, completes the overtake off the track, what otherwise would have been a Lewis Hamilton overtake, and still defends the position for turn 4, in turn causing Lewis Hamilton to lock up, therefore missing the corner, and then Max causes whatever this is, allowing Oliver Behrman to jump from P6 to P4, and if that's not enough, Lewis Hamilton gets a 10-second penalty from all of this. First things first, this is the stupidest escape route I've ever seen. Why is it thinner than a MotoGP long lap penalty line? Why does it rejoin perpendicular to the track? This could cause a very bad incident. Who came up with this? And just do what Canada does, make it rejoin at the end of the corner. So Lewis Hamilton gets a 10-second penalty pretty much immediately from all of this, but Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen weren't investigated for lap 1, and as for Charles Leclerc illegally overtaking Lewis, I think the stewards just left this up to Ferrari, even though that really does not make sense why they would leave it up to Ferrari. Play the game by the books. Don't let the teams make their own rules. Lewis, mate, I should see you do this at turn 1 in Brazil next time out. Wait, actually that's probably a bad idea. You actually lose time if you cut that corner. He has no more opportunities to do that for the rest of the season. Anyways, let's just put all this behind us. I'm getting more and more pissed off the more I talk about this. It's not even because Lewis is my favorite driver. Like 4 different drivers cut the track at one point, all of which gained pretty big advantages, but only one got penalized. Shows something really wrong with the stewarding. Completely forgot to mention this, by the way. Who on earth let this happen? I don't think it's the marshals' fault. It's whoever let those marshals on track fault. Or if you want to let them on track, at least call a VSC. Anyways, let's talk about the championship battle. Lando Norris, what a drive from him. Pretty much Singapore 2024. This time he didn't make any mistakes. Nothing to critique, although the fans were booing him after the race, and the fans were also fighting in the stands. I really don't get why they were fighting or booing Lando. What did Lando do to make the Mexicans angry? And why is there a sense of tribalism even though they don't have a home driver at the moment? I don't even think the Orange Army in Zandvoort is this tribal to Lewis Hamilton. Why are they doing this? That doesn't make sense. It's infuriating, but it's funny at the same time. Piastri's race, nothing much to critique on it. He didn't really put a foot wrong in this race, although he was massively helped by the lap 1, turn 1 incident, and also lap 6. Oh no, don't get me wrong, I said he didn't put a foot wrong, but it was still a bad race for him. The pace is not there at all still. How do you finish 40 seconds behind your teammate? And now Lando Norris leads the championship, after being so certain that Piastri would take this comfortably after Zandvoort. I've put so much energy into talking about the stewarding in this race. Let's just do some housekeeping real quick. Kimi Antonelli and George Russell, decent fight. George Russell was crashing out in this entire race. I would too if I was Russell or Lewis, because lap 1 was atrocious. If I thought Lewis Hamilton was unlucky in this race, oh, it doesn't even compare to the Williams in this race. They were, it was such an unlucky race for them. My streak of predicting good things for Williams is coming to an end, is it? I said they'll get a podium in either Baku or Monza. They got it in Baku. I said Leo Block will get her first F1 Academy win in Singapore. She got it in Singapore. And then in my Alex Albon video, I said that he can get a podium in Brazil. I might backtrack on that soon. It's not looking so good for this team at the moment. Although I did kind of see this coming because they've used up all their resources for this season and they're putting into next year, but it's fine. And Bortoletto's in the points the same week I buy his hat, so I'm good luck to Bortoletto and Williams. Speaking of Williams, this VSC, this might be the worst VSC of all time. Carlos was perfectly parked behind the barrier, and they still called the VSC. Although, am I happy the VSC was called? Yeah, probably, because Verstappen didn't overtake Leclerc. And I'm kind of pissed off with these two in this race. So, and then I like seeing the Verstappen fans crash out on Twitter. So yeah, you know I'm perfectly fine with this happening. But guys, that'll do for today's video. I'm tired after recording this because I used so much energy on crashing out on the Stewards decisions and Ferrari. I'm gonna go to sleep. I can't even go to sleep. I have to edit this. Anyways, thanks for watching and goodbye.